edition of You Ought to Know. You Ought to Know Live every Tuesday evening, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, and of course, part of the Hangout10.com network. With that introduction, Hangout 10 may take us off the air. It's 7 o'clock, and boy, I'm glad to be here. I must be, I'm tired. That's what it is. I had one of those days, long, rainy, icky day, and dealing with the Pennsylvania traffic, and I live in Maryland. Say no more about those Pennsylvania folks. Get them the heck out of our state and get them home and tell them to stay there tomorrow morning. But anyway, good to be with you. I'm Dave Serio, the host of a radio program You Ought to Know, and we're seen and heard live every Saturday morning, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. at daveserio.com. My name is spelled DaveSerio, daveserio.com. And, of course, we're on 3 stations in the Maryland area. The first station, Q1370 in Baltimore from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. From 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., we're on the 50,000-watt power station, AM 680 WCBM. And our last hour, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., on Frederick's Free Talk 930 WFMD. Let's talk to who's showing up tonight. Mike Lambert from the Shine Shop. Hey, good evening, Mr. Mike.
Good evening, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Hey, I'll tell you what's incredible. You've been dealing with a gentleman who has had a pickup truck that he bought at a local dealership, and they said, hey, can we clean this vehicle up for you? And he went, sure. And he did find a couple things wrong, so they said, no problem, we can take care of that. Tell us what's happened since then, Mike.
Well, he found two spots on it that were from the factory, corrections from the factory that they don't really have time to polish out. So he asked the dealership to polish that out. Well, the dealership took it upon themselves to be nice to him and buffed out the whole truck incorrectly. So when he brought it by, we explained to him what was the problem. They took off too much clear of the paint, too much clear coat of the paint in several spots. Told him to take it back to the dealership because we wouldn't touch it. And then he took it back to the dealership, and he came by this past Sunday and showed it to me again, where they rebuffed the truck at a different location, their body shop location.
Okay.
Now they have made it dangerously thin. So he has gotten General Motors involved, and my opinion and his opinion is he needs a new truck.
This is a 2015 or 2016.
2015.
Okay.
And it was a $67,000 truck.
Wow. And it's black.
It's black, yes.
Yes.
So we're going to go meet with the dealership tomorrow and just see what they have to say, and I'll give them my opinion and for what that's worth, but we'll see what happens. It should be interesting.
Yeah. Well, first of all, your opinion should be worth a lot because you are very, very skilled, and many people in the field throughout the country know how skilled you are. And the reason why you wouldn't touch it is because if you did the job to the vehicle, cleaned it up, polished it, and tried to save it, that clear coat was so thin in some areas that the paint would turn like a gray, correct?
Yeah, it'll just oxidize, just like the old single-stage paints do. Like if you have an old red car, it turns pink. The same thing will happen to clear. It's paint. It's just clear paint. So the same thing will happen. It'll get all hazy and dull, and because you have no UV protection left. So that's the problem. Most modern cars, the industry average is about 2.5 mils, which is 2.5 thousandths of an inch for clear coat. Over the life of the vehicle, the manufacturers only recommend taking half of that off.
Right.
So within the first 3 weeks of this truck's life, it's had more than half of that taken off.
Wow.
It's been compromised, and the only thing to do is either repaint the truck or get a new truck. And if it was me, I'd want a new truck because I didn't pay that much money for a truck that's been repainted.
Absolutely. And that will follow that truck for the rest of its life.
Absolutely, because anybody that looks at that truck when he goes to trade it in and knows anything about cars is going to see it's been repainted, because it'll never be as good as factory because they're not going to take the truck apart and repaint it.
Right.
To repaint that truck properly is $30,000, because they'll have to take it, disassemble it, take it apart, and make sure there's all the trims cleaned up and all that. And that doesn't include replacing the trim that they buffed over, the black plastic trim, which you can't fix. It's melted. That's how bad they buffed the car.
Wow.
So it's it's an interesting situation. I'm
Okay.
curious to see what happens tomorrow.
All right, that's one story.
That's
now
one.
Tell us about your neighbor.
It's like it always happens to me like two. I'm waiting for another one to come in this week because it always happens 3 times.
Right.
I have a really nice gentleman, really nice guy. Was at the detail seminar we did a couple Saturdays ago, and he called me the other day and said that he had an unfortunate incident where he had to purchase another truck. So he bought a 2013 Ford F-150 red, and he said he got home from the dealership and was wiping it down, and he said the door didn't look right. So he asked me if I could look at it. So we did. Come to find out, they told him.
Tell what they said first. Yeah.
Well, it was a clean Carfax, and the truck had no previous damage whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, as soon as I walked out of the shop to look at it, you could tell it was a different color red, and it had no shine.
Right.
So we started measuring the paint, and we found out that the left front fender, the left front door, the left rear door, the right back of the bed, and the right front fender had all been repainted incorrectly and had a lot of body filler in them.
Wow.
So we sent him back to the dealership. I haven't heard anything more about that, so we'll see. But yeah, it's like when it rains, it pours around here. So.
I hear you. You know, you're not really helping the dealers out, you know.
Well, it's like my wife tells me. My wife tells me when we buy a car, look, he's not coming home to dinner with us. We don't have to be nice.
Sounds good. Mike Lambert from the Shine Shop, an extreme detailer, 1 car per day, and puts all the ceramic coatings. Your contact information, 410-833-1632. And on your lower third, you can see the website, theshineshopAutoDetailing.com. We will be back with you in just a few moments, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. Craig Ship from Frederick.com, CraigShip.com, MidAtlanticTV.com, WashingtonCountyMD.com. Just stop me somewhere, please.
Well, there you go. I'll tell you what, I just made it into the show because I just came from a shoot.
Okay.
And, but let me share, I'll share a little photo. So
Sure.
A lot of your people are technically oriented. Here's a 3-camera shoot. Let me kill that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
People,
That's
of course,
okay.
people have to call right in the middle of a show, right?
Absolutely.
So anyway, that's a 3-camera shoot. That's what I was doing just a couple hours ago at Thermont Eye Care.
Okay.
We shot a little video for them. So, and that's fortunately done and up. So I was able to pop into the show.
Great. Very good. Are you doing a commercial for them, or are you doing a video for their website?
Yeah, it's one for their website. Let me unshare my screen here. Well, how come I can't do that now? So it's one for their website, and it'll be, of course, on Frederick.com on their landing page on Frederick.com.
Great.
And came out pretty good. They did a great job. Of course, that's 90% of the battle is having people that don't totally freeze up when they're on camera.
In front of the camera. Absolutely.
As soon as you give them the go ahead, right? They're like deer in the headlight, right? They're talkative and everything's fine up until then, right?
Right, they're goofing around with you, talking with you, and then all of a sudden it's, here we are at Eye Care Center, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but no, they did a great job, and that's up and done. So that's good, and they're going to be another promotional partner.
Good.
So they're joining Dynamic Automotive as our latest promotional partner.
Great, very good. Jose just joined the Google Hangout, so that's good. We'll be talking to him in just a few minutes. And Thursday, we're doing the shoot on the Hellcat,
Yes,
getting
we
a chance to take it for a ride, also do some stuff inside, and then I just confirmed on Monday that we're going to put it on a dyno and see how powerful that bad boy is.
You know, we'll do some burnouts and some donuts and a little bit of off-roading. You know, we got to test.
And then you'll help me with the purchase of the new tires?
And we'll take it to Mike and have him fix all the damage that we're going to do.
Oh, no, don't say that. Don't say that.
That'll make another great video. So
No. We don't want to make that video. That's not a video we want to make.
whatever we have to do to get videos done, we're going to do.
Listen, you know, I'm feeling a cold coming on Thursday.
Right, Jose. It's all about views, right?
Yeah,
There you go.
Hey, Jose. How you doing, Jose?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Great, sir. Great, sir. How was your trip out west?
It was amazing. I attended a lot of very interesting classes, mainly on the telematics issues and what the government is doing in regards to collision avoidance. And
Okay.
very interesting because they got 3,000 volunteers around the Ann Arbor area. They outfitted, modified their vehicles with communication devices, and these cars talk to each other.
Right.
And if they became, if they got into a near miss or a collision sort of situation, it would alert the driver through lights, warning lights, or buzzers, or vibrating seats that
Right.
a collision was about ready to happen, and that driver could take evasive maneuvers and avoid the accident. And 3 accidents within 1 year were avoided with this
Wow.
system. So it was really pretty cool. But this whole system was more or less completely detached from telematics. It was its own entity. So I can only imagine if you would marry the two, the extraordinary system that would be born of the two, you know? Yeah.
Neat.
So, really cutting edge stuff. I heard a lot of opinions, the legalities about telematics, and how GM is trying to say, hey, the data that you're creating on your vehicle, in your vehicle, while you're driving, belongs to us because you're using our program. Well, my view is that if we're using computers as we do today, and we're writing a text, a letter on Word, Microsoft isn't saying that data
They
is
own it.
their property. You know?
Well, and one other thing that you got to remember is the GM car, you bought it.
Yeah, it belongs.
Okay, it's your car.
Right.
So everything in it belongs to you.
Right. So what I'm saying is that the data that we create on our computer via the mouse or the keyboard, the
Right.
things that we create literally and visually, pictures and whatnot, that data belongs to us when we
Right.
put it in our computer.
No.
We're doing the same. We're doing the same
No.
thing.
Jose, it doesn't.
Okay, hold on. Craig has a rebuttal. Hold on one second.
It doesn't. You see, here's the deal.
Craig.
When you take possession of software and you read the fine print that nobody reads, it will tell you in there basically that the things that you create with that software, that they own it, not you. It'll also tell you all kinds of things about what you can and cannot use it for to create, and that you may or may not be able to create content for commercial use.
Right.
And all kinds of things like that, that we all just skip through all of that and click agree.
Right.
And because all of those agreements are written in favor of the other guy,
Sure.
right? Now, that doesn't mean that we don't all violate those agreements and do whatever we want with the content and don't worry about it, right? But you can't assume that if you use software and create something, you can't automatically assume that what you created is 100% lock, stock, and barrel yours, and you can do anything you want with it, because
So
that may or may not be the case.
You're telling me that when somebody creates text, an actual letter or a document or a book on Word, on Microsoft Office, it doesn't belong to them. It belongs to Microsoft.
It might belong to them, and then Microsoft also might have some restrictions on use and what they can and cannot do with it and all kinds of things like that. And then many times, of course, Microsoft is not going to enforce those things, but that doesn't mean that they don't have a lot of things written into that agreement that allow them to do a lot of things. That's why, like Facebook, when Facebook keeps changing their policy and saying that we can do whatever we want with your photos and so on and so forth and all this kind of stuff, everybody gets up in arms. But the bottom line is Facebook isn't going to do anything with your photo. They're just putting all that in the agreement so that they're protected in case they did do something, you can't sue them.
Now GM is taking all of this data, and they're doing something with it, and insurance companies are taking all this data, and they're doing
and software is that way. Like if you buy software, you're not buying software. You're buying the right to use that software based on their terms. And so like if you buy Microsoft Word, you may think you bought it and you own it, but you don't. It says right in the agreement, we own it. We, Microsoft, own it. We're just letting you use it, and we're letting you use it under these terms. Spell out all the terms.
But does that mean they own the content that you create on it?
They probably have some language in there that they either do own it or that they have restrictions on what you can or can't do with it. And they usually put a lot of broad language in there. And again, it doesn't mean that they're going to enforce that language. It just means that they're doing that because they want to hold all the cards.
Well, this is where the argument is going to go with the car manufacturers in regards to the data that's being created by automobiles. Customers right now, or the general public right now, have their data that they're creating within a vehicle's program, and all of that data is going to the manufacturers or the insurance companies. And in a lot of cases, like you mentioned, they've signed their rights away, and that data now belongs to the manufacturer.
Yeah, I wonder when you buy a car, I wonder if there's any agreement that you sign with regard to that. There probably is.
It is in the owner's manual that they can download from your car if you have an accident.
Right.
Yeah, well, and they might even have it on the purchase orders. Back in the day when I was selling cars, there weren't any computers, so this wasn't an issue. But they might even have it on the back of the purchase orders and all that in the fine print somewhere. They probably have that we own the software in the car. You have the right to use the software, again, under certain terms. We own the data generated by that. They probably have these agreements somewhere that a purchaser acknowledges. I would think they would have to do that.
Well, that's where the argument's gonna come into play. Is do they really truly have a right to the content that you're writing while you're driving your vehicle? I mean, your inputs from your steering wheel, from your brake pedal, from your accelerator, they're all writing a story within your vehicle. And that
let's say this. Let's say you're involved in an accident and you've been drinking, okay? And they find out, they do a breathalyzer after the accident and find out that you're 0.10, you're over the legal limit. And you have a modern car. And they take the information, the insurance company or the police take the information from your car, exactly what was happening the 1 minute or 30 seconds before the accident, and any information they have after that. Jose, do you think that's what you're fighting about?
Well, that's going to be one of the issues involved. There are going to be legalities like that are going to involve lives, insurance companies, and law enforcement, of course. Yeah.
Well, now we have cameras that are being advertised right now inexpensively that you can mount on your dash that will record every moment that the car is running, and even has recording capability. It'll go loop to loop if you wanted to, but it has like a 7-day recording capability, so that if you're involved in an accident or an altercation or anything happens to you while you're driving, this will record like 360 degrees. So we're pretty much putting ourselves in a situation that we're making everything, right out there in front.
In public domain. So does this transparency, is that really where everything is going to go?
Yeah. The bottom line is you better assume that anything you do in your vehicle, online, in any place of business, anywhere except for the most remote, national forest out in the middle of nowhere, you got to assume that whatever you're doing is being recorded and documented, and it's there. That's why I don't care when I post stuff to Facebook or anywhere. I make it public. It's always a public posting when I post stuff because I know it's going to be out there anyway. So I might as well benefit from it and use
Now
it to promote.
let me go a step further with this. The manufacturer is gathering up all this information. They're funneling the maintenance side of this information, not the personal side. As a matter of fact, they made a point, a very strong point, of telling everyone that they stay away from the GPS side of all of this information because that is violating a privacy regulation or law somewhere around. So they don't want to touch that information of where that car is.
Yeah, but other people are, so that doesn't matter.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
That ship has sailed too.
Aspect of the vehicle, if a check engine light comes on, if there's an issue with the vehicle, that manufacturer then is funneling that information to the dealership level. The dealership is contacting that customer via email, or they're being directly contacted through the vehicle through a message on their panel or check engine light like that. Right now, the dealer is the only one that has the capability of getting that information. People like Dave and myself who have independent shops are not able to get that information unless there is what they call a dongle plugged into the ALDL of the system. You like that word, dongle?
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
But here in the future, the dongle is going to be eliminated because the ALDL is going to be eliminated. All vehicles will be wireless. And that information will only go to the manufacturers. The manufacturers will only use their dealership system. They will get that information. Now, there's something called the Right to Repair Act out there,
Right.
where everyone should have the same, it should be a level playing ground, where everyone
Right.
should be able to have the capability of getting this information. How do you feel about that?
Are you talking to me? I'm all
Yes.
for it. I mean, it's not because I'm in the business.
I'm looking at you, Dave. Can't you tell?
Well, yeah, I can. It's just fair. I mean, if you have businesses, if you have a cupcake company, okay, and one cupcake company is allowed to use one special oven, and none of the other ones can, and that guy can make a cupcake that nobody else can because of that, that's not fair. Okay, why should the automobile repair business be any different? Why should they have special rights to repair cars that we can't repair? And the Right to Repair Act, I'm telling you how important that is. People have no idea. If it is left to where dealers can only repair the cars that they represent, a GM dealer trying to repair GM cars, if they're the only ones that can do that in the future, and independent shops and franchise shops can't do anything, then where are the prices going to be?
So, Dave, what about the 1,000-pound gorilla in the room? What about 5 years from now when Apple releases an Apple car and they totally disrupt the entire automotive industry, just like they did the cell phone industry? Back in the day, there were a bunch of companies making cell phones, right? Mm-hmm. And then Apple came out with the iPhone, and now most Americans are buying iPhones. Androids sell real well overseas because they're cheap, but most Americans have iPhones by the stats, more than half. And so what's going to happen when Apple comes in with an Apple car that's amazing and totally disrupts the entire automotive industry? Then what's going to happen?
Well, we're not sure if they're going to be able to disrupt the whole industry, and we still have choices. It's when Apple becomes a monopoly, when no other cars are available, and Apple is the only one, and they're the only ones that can repair it. That's where the problem happens.
They're pretty much a monopoly with phones, with the iPhone.
We still have a choice on Samsung. We still have choice on Nokia. We still have choice on other phones out there. I'm not saying that iPhone isn't a great seller, absolutely, but they're not a monopoly. We still have choices out there, and every manufacturer, every dealer, like AT&T and Verizon and all the other companies, they all have different choices out there. It isn't like they're only offering
So how is the industry going to change when the electric cars are finally really good and have great range and are affordable and all of that. What's that going to do with the industry if Apple takes a leadership role in that and does roll out a really awesome electric car, which I think they're capable of doing.
They are capable of doing that. Let's say they do that. Okay, then 4 to 5 years down the road of those cars being introduced and out on the road, owners of auto repair shops like me, we have to adapt. We have to then learn how to repair those cars. We have to go to the seminars, but they have to be offered. We have to have a
But
way
aren't
to
they
repair
also going to require a lot less in the way of repairs?
Sure.
If they're as good as we think they're going to be?
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean they won't give
other
repairs.
aspects that we would do. Of course, the electronics we would have to learn, like Dave was saying, how to service those entities. You're still going to have some similar types of wear and tear, brakes, tires, lights, so on and so forth.
But brakes last a long time on those cars. Like my Prius still has the original brakes, and it's got almost 100,000 miles on them.
Craig, I mean,
not one of those miles has been over 30 miles per hour, Craig.
Well, what can I say?
What about the proprietary information? Like my friend Richard at Radcliffe, he had to buy a $30,000 scan tool to work on Ferraris because Ferrari only gives information out to this certain scan tool. So
we can blame our government on that.
Okay.
Because our government in 1990 whatever decided 1996 was going to be the introduction of onboard diagnostic 2, and every 96 model up had to have it. But they limited it just to emissions and drivability instead of doing the whole enchilada and saying it includes airbags and ABS and all the other intricate parts of the car. The manufacturers saw this huge loophole and said, oh, okay, we'll do it. Every car that's sold in America has to conform to onboard diagnostic 2. All right, we'll do it. But then they said, they didn't mention anything about our other systems. So ABS is on a different system. Airbags are on a different system. SRS for your, it's amazing. And that's what happened. If the government would have just said, hey, all automobiles sold in the United States need this particular format for testing everything, and then that would have helped out considerably.
That's true. The regulation right now on ALDL, the ALDL has 16 pin slots. The federal government has regulated only 4 of those pin slots. So the manufacturers are really free to do whatever they want with the other pin slots remaining.
And they have done it. I mean, there are some manufacturers out there. You could have a Chevy Impala that, if I'm just using this as an example, you could have a Chevy Impala out there that could possibly have 5 different scanners necessary. Now, that's not the case in this situation, but there are some manufacturers out there, high-end, that have different scanners for each system. So if you have an airbag problem, you have this scanner. If you have an ABS, anti-lock brake system problem, you have this scanner. And they're Apple to do that. And if you are an independent shop owner that doesn't work on those cars a lot, and all you have is OBD2, you can easily repair the drivability of the vehicle, but you don't have a clue what to do if the wipers go bad.
All right, so fast forward. The Tesla's already a connected car, right, where they download the software updates over the air to the car.
Right.
And I'm not saying that Tesla's done a good job with some of the things they've done, and some of their cars have had issues and given trouble. We've known owners that have had problems with them. But I'm just saying, if Apple, for example, gets all of those things right, which is what Apple tends to do, is they come in late. They're never early in the game. Like there was the Palm Trio smartphone out for years before the iPhone came out. What they do is they watch and see what everybody else is doing, study it, figure it all out, and then when they finally roll theirs out, they've usually licked the problems that the previous ones had, or come close to it, and then they'll iterate a couple models after that and keep improving it until they finally get it pretty much right. So what happens if they come out with a connected car that all of the, quote, servicing as far as electronic stuff and things that can go wrong and all that kind of stuff is all taken care of via software, via updates and things like that? Okay, you got a little bug and whatever, okay, we'll push out a little update and take care of that. And
well, I've got the answer for you, Craig. I'll be retired in Florida. I don't care.
Okay, so what about the young people like Jose? What's he supposed to do?
We will adapt.
Yeah.
And honestly, I would see Apple probably partnering up with one of the established manufacturers. I mean,
That's one of the rumors that they'll do it that way, but I don't think they will. They usually like to have complete control. They're control freaks, right? They usually like to control the entire experience from soup to nuts. And the latest rumors really are that they've hired a lot of heavy hitters away from some of these big companies. I think they even hired somebody from Ferrari, and they're really putting together quite a team of talent, top-notch talent.
Well,
And
Craig, let me say this to you. Let me say this. Way back in 1994, they changed the air conditioning systems in automobiles. Jose will remember this.
oh yeah,
As the automobile industry, we honestly thought the world was coming to an end when it came to automobile repair and air conditioning.
Mhm.
I mean, all the stories were out there, how horrible this is going to be. We're not going to be able to repair them. We're not going to be able to convert them. It's going to be horrible. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
We all went to special classes. Jose, did you go to classes?
oh yeah.
It was like
terrified. I got
fear. It was unreal. I was sitting there in 1992 in a class, and they're saying when this comes in 1994 that we're going to be out of the air conditioning business
Yeah.
in 1994.
Yeah.
Okay? First of all, it takes years to evolve these cars. The cars that are here right now that are going to be sold in the next 5 years don't dissolve like Volkswagen would like them to, I'm sure, right now.
Exactly.
But that's not the case. They don't dissolve. So there are going to be a lot of these cars around for a while. Google is going to it's going to take such a long time. I'm talking 10 to 15 years for Google to even make a dent in the auto sales business.
And or
it's not
Apple.
going to happen.
Google and or Apple.
Google or Apple, either one of them. It's going to take years for that to happen. It's not going to be overnight. You know, it's not going to be like, GM is going to stop selling cars in 2019 because Apple came up with a car.
Right.
I think Dave, I think the time frame is going to depend on how good that car is.
True.
So if they roll something out 5 years from now that's just really awesome,
right,
and it starts selling really well, I think it could have a big impact in about 10 years. So in other words, 5 years worth of rolling out.
Well, how long has Tesla been out?
Tesla is not selling in any kind of volume. Apple doesn't do low volume. If Apple does something...
Well, that's just it. When Tesla came on the scene, everyone thought, holy cow, here we go. But how long have they been on the scene?
Oh, quite a while now. But
5 or 6 years.
Whoever said that, whoever said holy cow, they weren't paying attention to the numbers. They're not a volume operation. They're a niche. And if Apple does something, in my opinion, it won't be a niche thing. It will be a high volume, because they don't do anything that's niche. They don't, at least that's not their effort, right? They want a big market or they're not getting in it.
Well, let's talk about this, Craig.
My point is, how many new
cars? What's going to be the price? What's going to be the price of the car? You're talking $700 to $1,000 for an iPhone. Okay?
Yeah.
What is their car going to cost?
I think that it will be a premium price, but an affordable premium price, if that makes any sense. In other words, the phones are expensive, but obviously a lot of people feel that they're worth it because they wouldn't sell in the numbers that they sell. So the car would have to be, I think, in the $40,000 price range by today's numbers, but be really, really awesome at $40,000. For a lot of people to stretch that we're going to spend 30, right? But I'm going to stretch, and I really want the Apple car type of thing. And then
now, is it going to be electric?
Oh yeah, it'd be 100% electric, absolutely.
Okay, so what are we talking about? How's Apple going to get in the next 5 years all of the systems together in order to be able to charge these cars? I mean,
well, I think it'll have enough range for. I think my guess is it will have enough range for normal use without having to worry about like charging it during the day or anything like that. Let's say it has a 250 mile range or something. I mean, that'll be plenty for 99% of people. And Apple is real good at making the case of why you want to do this and why you're going to do it this way. I mean, they are good at changing people's habits.
Right.
And that's what has to happen with an electric car. First of all, it has to be really good. Second of all, the manufacturer has to be good enough to sell it and to convince people that you need to change your way of getting around. And we've got that solution. And if they can pull that off, both of those things, then I think it could have a big impact. And
All
I
right,
think
we didn't have a chance to even introduce Jose. Jose Bueso is one of the managing partners of Dynamic Automotive. He's the one that got us on this tangent. Great subject matter, by the way. Great subject
pretty
matter.
much all that. I mean,
Yeah.
he's all that in a bag of chips. So.
Anyway, Dynamic Automotive has 3 locations to serve the Frederick vicinity. They've got New Market, Liberty Town, and Urbana. And you are at the Liberty Town location, correct?
Yep, I'm at the Liberty Town location, and if you want to argue a point, you can call me at 301-694-6250. I'm here from 8 to 6 Monday through Friday, and from 8 to 12 on Saturday.
Yes.
I got a lot of information from Apex SEMA. It was an awesome show. And
Good.
we had half a dozen of us go down there, and from all 3 locations, and all of us got swelled heads from all of the data.
I saw on Facebook all you guys were doing was partying the whole time.
Yeah, I'll tell you, they do have these evening receptions that go on into the night, and they are a lot of fun in some very swanky environments. At the top of the Mandalay, where there is just a view that is incredible, and hopefully next week I'll have some pictures that I can show you.
Well,
And,
don't forget, what happens at SEMA goes out on Facebook.
right, yeah. So there was a lot of good food eaten and some drink. Not so much, though, because we had to get up early and go to school. And we literally had about a half a mile to 3/4 of a mile to walk from the hotel that we were staying at, which was the Paris, and we walked down to the Venetian, and then of course you took a monorail over to where SEMA was, and a lot of us averaged about 8 miles a day.
Yeah.
8 miles a day.
That's
It was a
walk.
lot of good exercise.
Very good, very good. Well, let me get back to Mike Lambert. We almost forgot he's on the show.
Okay.
So let me get back to Mike. Mike, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. It was interesting.
Good. Long time no talk to. How you been?
I'm good. Jose, did you get to go to the SEMA show, or were you stuck in school all day?
Well, I did visit the SEMA show my first day there when they were setting up, and of course I didn't see much of anything. But the last day, the day before I had to leave, I went down there and I saw everything.
Good for you.
Incredible. Yeah, that is
nice.
like a cool show.
Yeah, my friend Eric was out there, and he's like, he walked for 3 days. He said, I still haven't seen everything.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah. We
So,
were speed walking.
I'm going before I die. I promised myself I would go before I die.
You will love it, in especially in the aspect that they do have a lot of extreme detailers there.
Yeah.
You would probably be followed around as a guru once you showed up.
I wouldn't say that. Some of the guys that were out there I worked with, and yeah, they're the ones. That's the guys that hang around with. So.
There are a lot of famous people walking around in our industry out there, and it's just amazing. It really is. Yeah. Very cool stuff.
And it's a shame while it happened that Mr. Barris passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a shame. I'm sure that was a big hit to the industry out there.
Yeah, I met him at World of Wheels. What a nice man.
Yeah.
Walking down the aisle, and I said, "Hey, Mr. Barris, I really enjoy your work." And he stopped and talked for a couple minutes. So he was really nice.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, Mr. Mike. So, did you have a template for the week, or did you just want to talk about those guys there?
That was pretty much it. Just
That's good.
I find it unbelievable the way that the dealership is treating them, but we'll see what happens.
Well, hopefully with your input and GM's pressure, the dealership will end up getting them another vehicle, and they can sell that to somebody else.
Well, I don't wish that on anybody else, but I hope they help him out.
Yeah. Well, hopefully at a discount, somebody may not even care. You know?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's a black truck, and I'm going to drive it, so you never know.
It's a shame because I never thought that I would see the day that a pickup truck would have Wi-Fi and would cost you $70,000. It's hard to believe for me.
And it's when you and I were young, a long, long time ago, pickup trucks were purchased because they were the cheapest thing to buy.
Yeah, you needed it for work. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Did they even have pickup trucks back then?
Yes, they did, Craig. Yes.
Back when they got rid of the horse, they made pickup trucks. So.
Yeah. By the way, Craig reminds me of a horse. It's a different kind of horse, though. But anyway, I must be remiss. So thank you very much for joining us, Mike.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Your contact information, once again, is 410-833-1632, and the website, theshineshopAutoDetailing.com. And by the way, go to the website, folks, because not only are you going to find out what Mike does and the type of ceramic coatings he applies and synthetic waxes, but there's a do-it-yourself section, there's a gallery of cars that Mike's worked on, and there's also a pricing. Everything is right there on the web, nothing hidden, all right out there in the open, and I think you'll find it pretty interesting. Once again, Mike, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
All right, going back to Mr. Craig Shipp from Hangout10.com. And by the way, how many Google Hangouts do you have now on Hangout10.com? Do you know the number by any chance?
Not that many.
Really? A lot of people have decided not to do it anymore.
Not that many have hung in there like you.
Oh, okay.
You know, Google has kind of been treating Google Plus like a redheaded stepchild, and now they're starting to break off some of the elements. I'm pretty sure they're going to keep this Hangout thing going and the Hangout on Air thing going, but they're breaking it up into different segments.
Right.
And what they were trying to do initially with Google Plus was bring everything together. Now they're going the opposite direction. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with all that.
It's so unusual for Google just to make a change like that.
Well, their core product is, of course, their search engine, and that's where they make their money. And the rest of these things are like toys.
Play toys. Yep, play toys.
Yeah. And you know
thank you, Greg.
You know how we lose, with toys, we lose our interest, and that's what we do.
Well, Craig, I appreciate you being with us. CraigShip.com. And, of course, if you're in the Frederick area, you've got to look at Frederick.com because that has all of the extra info that you need to live and also work in the Frederick area. Business information and also events. Everything is right on it, Frederick.com. Thanks for being with us, Craig.
Come down Thursday and watch Dave do a burnout.
Yeah, man. No doubt. We'll do a burnout. Thanks so much. Yeah, we didn't tell Jose. Jose, we're taking the Hellcat out on Thursday, and we're going to do some driving with that. We're also going to do a story on it, and then we're taking it over and having it dynoed.
Wow.
And we're gonna test the torsional rigidity of the frame in a roll situation.
Jose, no, we're not. Okay, no, we're not. Okay, and this is from a guy who has a Toyota truck that we don't even need to talk about his frame. Okay.
I'll even mount one of my cameras, and when you roll it, let you roll over the camera as long as the SD card survives and I get the clip. That's all we need.
You're such a great guy, Craig. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, well, it's time to say goodbye. Jose, thank you very much for being with us this evening. We're glad you had a great time at SEMA.
Yeah, always a pleasure, and I've got more to share with you guys. Craig, I'm glad you were here tonight because you were able to share your software facts and opinions with us. That was really something.
Yeah, if you ever read one of those agreements that we all agree to, and you read all the fine print, you'd be like, oh my gosh.
Well, actually, you'd still be on the computer because it's so long you wouldn't be able to read it in one day.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, once again, Jose, thanks again for being with us this evening. We look forward next week to finding out more about SEMA. And get back to work, mister, okay?
Okay. Thank you. Always a pleasure being here, guys.
Thank you. That's Jose Bueso from Dynamic Automotive, and, of course, the website there, dynamicautomotive.net. My website is daveserio.com. We hope you get a chance to join it. Well, you can get the You Ought to Know app, and also you can watch the show live every Saturday morning, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. at daveserio.com. That's all the time we have. If you're watching this on archive, we'd love to have you join us next Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, for You Ought to Know Live, part of the Hangout10.com network. Have a blessed week. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.